Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy X-Ray, and today I'm going to be breaking down the top 5 best teams in 7 Deadly Sins Origin right now as of patch 1.2. And I'm not just going to be giving you the teams, I'm also going to be showing you the weapons that you want to be building or you should be building for these teams so that you can get the most damage and be consistent as much as you could. So now, just to be clear, all of these, like, they're not in any particular order or anything like that. Most of them will have a flex spot somewhere here and there that you can swap and carry out depending on what kind of content you're doing at the time. Some teams work better with certain characters and some just don't work as well without them. So let's get right on into it. The first team we have is going to be the balanced team. This is going to be mainly just like an all-around team. This is just a team that you can take into just about as much content as you think you could, pretty much. So it's going to include having Meliodas as your main DPS. He's flexible, reliable. King will also be there on his Grimoire to give you shields and sustain. And then Diana also controls the front line and takes pressure off the team by tanking. And really quickly, if you're running Diana on her gauntlets with her in grave gear, her ultimate will actually allow you to heal her. So once you pop it, she can recover HP while tanking and just getting a whole bunch of damage. This is really useful for things like the Gila dungeon and stuff like that. So she's not just soaking up the damage, she's going to be keeping herself alive too, which makes the team way more stable. And like I said earlier, you got a flex spot here. You can run Elaine, another DPS, or another utility, just depending on the fight. And this is how the team just wants to run, you know, and wants to work like that. So this team really just works everywhere. For the weapons you're going to be running on this team, of course, you're going to have Meliodas either on the dual swords or the long sword. You're of course going to have King on the Grimoire, and then you're going to have Diane on her gauntlets. It's simple, stable, and effective, so you can use it anywhere in the game pretty much. Next up is one that I know a lot of people don't really look at a lot, but you really could get a lot out of this with this one. It's going to be the Daisy control team. So the reason why I think this team is really good is the team is all about locking down enemies and then bursting them. Daisy brings stuns and strong damage, as well as having Elaine on the team, and then King being there to keep everything stable. And then again, you have another flex spot depending on what you need. You're controlling the fight instead of it kind of being like when you fighting around what they doing. So you want to control the stuns and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen how broken her stuns are, and if you manage to get her, I think it's like P8, no, it's like P7, I believe it's like P7, either P7 or P6, where she gets 2 additional towers. So on top of that, you're going to be doing even more stuns and trickling to that. Now obviously, I know a lot of people didn't pull for Daisy because she really wasn't a character that a lot of people really wanted to go for, but unfortunately she is one of the best characters in the game, so she will be on a lot of different teams in terms of like providing buffs and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to stay a little bit away from putting Daisy on some of the teams, but she kind of needs to be here in order for this to be like one of the best team videos. So, you know, that's kind of why she's there. So like I said, you're going to be running Daisy on the, of course, the Grimoire. You're going to be having Elaine on her staff, and then you want to have King on his Grimoire as well. If you play and time things correctly, enemies really don't get a chance to play back. So they don't get a chance to take their turn. So you're just going to run away and just boo-boo damage on them and then just walk away while they sitting there looking at you and they just frozen death. That's it. That's all they going to do. All right, moving on to team number 3. Now we're going to get into the damage dealers, and this is going to be the fire damage dot team type of ordeal. So Escanor, of course, is going to be your main carry. Gila is going to be there to stack the burns as well as apply a burst, and then of course you will have Meliodas there to amplify more of the damage over time. So essentially, Meliodas was to come in after all of the damage over time is proccing from Escanor and Gila at the same time, and you know, you just go crazy. This is a really fun team to play, especially if you learn and build into it and get it to go as much as you possibly can, as well as having Escanor there to apply weakness stats and stuff like that, so that way you can get a little bit more oomph out of everything that you're doing with the burn team and whatnot. I personally think this is one of the funnest teams in the game right now to play in terms of just clearing content, just having a massive AoE around you and just absolutely blowing through the enemy, just letting them look at you. Like, even when you get knocked back, you're still hitting them because your damage over time is going off. So that's always good, you know what I'm saying? So even if you're down, you're still doing your damage and whatnot. So it's going to be amazing. Constant ticking is going to be always great in this game. I can tell you right now, it's going to be amazing. Now also, you could, if you don't want to run a fire team, you could technically do this with ice as well. Manny on her dual swords along with Meliodas can do similar effects of what Escanor and Meliodas are doing, but it would be like an ice team instead of it being a fire team. So you put Jericho on the team instead of Gila to be your burster instead. So you can kind of mix them around a little bit. It's just another option if you want to do different builds or whatever, or you're getting tired of doing the same fire build or whatever the case may be, and you have Manny and you want to try her out. Because I know a lot of people just use Manny for the buff that she supplies, but she is pretty decent in terms of doing damage as well as being a overall decent character when it comes to having some combat in her little kit, you know what I'm saying? She put a little work in, I ain't gonna lie. So of course with this team, you really want to go with Escanor on his axe. Of course you want to have Meliodas on the sword, and then of course you're going to have Gila on the rapier. And then you could also, like I said, if you wanted to do the ice version, you would switch out Manny for Escanor, and you would kind of do the Gilla switched out for Jericho. That way you can, you know, get that going up as way as you want it to. And yeah, you can keep that damage uptime high, and on both versions they do perform relatively well. I will have a video coming out on Manny very soon, so keep an eye on it for that one, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. All right, talk about team number 4 here. We got the defense scaling Escanor team, and the reason why I wanted to put this team up here is because of my testing and stuff like that. In terms of being a free-to-play character, honestly, this would probably be the safest version of Escanor for you to go for and actually try to max out. Especially if you only have him at like P4 or something like that, I feel like you would benefit a lot more from the defensive build that he can do over you trying to get a whole bunch of attack and stack that all up and just get perfect rolls and stuff like that, when it's a little bit easier to stack defense up. We don't really have anything that just naturally increases your attack. Most of the time it's going to increase your critical or your critical damage. So, you know, it's just another way of actually, you know, surviving and making the game a little bit better. So of course Escanor is going to be benefiting directly from this team. You can actually run him with King in his earth form with the wand. The version of King is really strong here because the ultimate is low cost. You can also cycle it a lot faster, so it helps boost your team overall and gets Escanor the ability to get his ultimates off, which makes it a little bit easier, especially because with the defensive Escanor you only need 4 in total to get your full rotation off, and then you can start it again and pretty much right after that. Just having that ability with King to actually load yourself up with ultimate gauge and then have him also provide extra defense on top of that is extremely valuable in terms of building a pure defensive build to actually put out damage from that defensive build. So the fact that you're being so tanky and then you can also dish out so much damage is insane to me. And then you can also pair him with Grayamore here, adding even more durability. He has a 15% defense increase to all allies, so he's just going to be there making you extremely tanky, and then you're also going to be hitting extremely hard at the same time. And again, you got another flex spot here. You can either do a healer, which I mean you can do a healer, you really don't need to, but I would say like another buffer or something like that would be better, or another damage dealer. It's all just really depending on what you wanted to do. Yeah, it's relatively a extremely good team in my personal opinion, and I do think it's one of the best teams, especially for free-to-play characters or free-to-play people. I don't know why I said characters, but free-to-play people who need to help clear content and at least want to get the content done and don't have to worry about min-maxing every frame that they possibly can get behind in order to get a dodge off or a 2-second swing on something or whatever the case may be. It's just for people who want to play the game and don't want to super sweat, essentially. Alrighty, and last but not least, we got the GOAT team itself. Now obviously this team is, you know, you kind of already have a team like this when you have the burn team, but this is going to be the main Meliodas and Escanor core team here. So Meliodas is going to be there to amplify the damage after Escanor brings out a burst or is in a burst. And then you can also put King on this team. He does fit really well inside of this team. He fits really good on any team at this point in the game. I think a lot of people are starting to understand where he's coming into play in terms of being there for support, as well as a little bit of damage on the side. Nothing crazy, but enough to keep you sustaining and enough to keep you going through certain content. But you can also run something like Elaine if you want more support or more consistency. You can even run Daisy on her Grimoire. You can even run it on her wind variation for that crit resistance to go down, so that way the Escanor and Meliodas can both go crazy, absolutely crazy in there, and then you would have a great time just dealing with that, in my personal opinion. You can also once again put Grayamore on your team if you want that extra 15% on defense. That actually helps really decently as well. So of course you want to have Meliodas on his longsword. Escanor is going to be on his greatsword or axe. It's kind of the same thing, like I said, of the burn team, but you want to have Melee on that long sword so he can come in on that very last little bit of the burst, corrupt it, and then he can come in and just kind of do his thing. Especially if you have your Meliodas, I believe it's P5. If you have him at P5, you only need to do your 1 haste stack, and then you can go into the infinite spam on your ability. So other than that, it's still hitting 2 stacks ain't bad either. You know, it's just 1 extra second that you got to deal with, but either way it goes, it's going to be always good for that. And then you could just kind of flex around what you want to do. There's so many variants and stuff like that in the game that you could possibly do in order to make some of these teams even better and overall just improve the game. Alrighty, so those are my top 5 teams of 7 Deadly Sins Origin as of right now, patch 1.2. With the weapons you should be building for them, let me know what teams you're running right now and what full build guides you want, if you would like to see them at all. I will catch you all in the next one. It's been your boy X-Ray. See ya.